got the temple is finished. Solomon is finished building the temple. And now we are getting to, he's going to bless the temple and that kind of stuff. That's where we're at with this 1 Kings 8 and 2 Chronicles 5. Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes and the chief fathers of the children of Israel unto King Solomon in Jerusalem, and they might bring up the ark of the covenant of Jehovah out of the city of David, which is in Zion. And all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto the King Solomon in the feast of the month of Ethanim, which is in the seventh month. That'd be maybe August, September. And the elders of Israel came, and the elders and the priests took up the ark and brought up the ark of Jehovah and the tabernacle of the congregation and all the holy vessels that were in the tabernacle, even those in the priests and the Levites did bring up. And King Solomon, all the congregation of Israel were assembled unto him, were with him before the ark, and sacrificing the sheep and the oxen that could not be told nor numbered for a multitude. And the priests brought the ark of the covenant, Jehovah, into his place, into the oracle of the house, to the most holy place, and even under the wings of the cherubims. This is 1 Kings 8, verse 7. For the cherubim spread the fourth of their two wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubims covered the ark and the staves thereof above. And they drew out the staves, and at the end of the staves were seen out of the holy place before the oracle. And they were not seen without, and they were unto this day. Chapter 9. There was nothing in the ark save 2 tablets of stone, which Moses put there at Horeb, when Jehovah made a covenant with the children of Israel when they came out of the land of Egypt. He made the covenant with them in Horeb. These are the 2 tablets of stone, the 10 commandments, folks. Okay? Now, Psalm 105. Psalm 105. Okay, Psalm 105. He opened the rock, and the waters gushed out, and they ran the dry places like a river. For he remembered his holy promise, and Abraham his servant. And they brought forth the people with joy in his chosen gladness, and gave them the lands of the heathen, that they inherited the labor of the people, that they might observe his statutes and keep his laws. Okay? That's what was in that Ark of the Covenant. It goes under the mercy seat. What's going on, Logan Miller? So it goes under the mercy seat. And that's what's still there when they bring it up to the new temple. Okay, so that's the Abrahamic covenant, folks. A huge error is being made. Is that people that assume that that's the Mosaic covenant. That's what they call it in churchianity. That's what people will learn in all these, when they go to college for seminary, okay? It's the renewing of the Abrahamic covenant was there. We just read it in Psalms 105. That was verse 41. You'll read more about it if you go back to verse 8. Okay, that's verse 41 to the end, Abrahamic covenant. Moses brings in Abraham when he talks about Yeshua going back and speaking the things that I put in his mouth in Deuteronomy 18. All that thou desireth from the Lord thy God in Horeb. Horeb. That's verse 9 right here. It's a great tie-in. And it came to pass when the priests were come out of the holy place that the cloud filled the house of Jehovah. He's there. So that the priest could not stand to minister because of the cloud, for the glory of Jehovah had filled the house of Jehovah. And then spake Solomon, Jehovah said he would dwell in the thickness and the darkness. I have surely built thee a house to dwell in, and settled a place for thee to abide in forever. And the king turned his face about and blessed all the congregation of Israel. And the congregation of Israel stood. And he said, Blessed be Jehovah, God of Israel, which spoke to the mouth unto David my father, which hath with his hand he fulfilled it, saying, Since the day that I brought forth my people Israel out of Egypt, I chose no city out of all the tribes of Israel to build a house that my name might be therein, but I chose David to be over my people Israel. And it was in his heart of David my father to build a house for the name of Jehovah, God of Israel. And Jehovah said unto David, my father, where it was thine heart to build a house unto my name, thou didst well, and it was in thy heart. Nevertheless, thou shalt not build the house, but thy son that shall come forth out of thy loins, he shall build the house unto my name. And Jehovah hath performed his word that he spoke, and I am risen up in the room of David my father, and sit on the throne of Israel. And Jehovah had promised, and had built a house for the name of Jehovah, God of Israel. And I have set there a place for the ark. Therein is a covenant of Jehovah, which he made with our fathers when he brought them out of the land of Egypt. And Solomon stood before the altar in the presence of the congregation of Israel, and spread forth his hands towards heaven. That's verse 22. Oh, hey, hi, Grant. Yeah, I hope you have a good day too, man. So, high grade. Yeah, so my eyes get focused on these words. Then I look at the screen. I can't read it for a second. He brings them out of the land of Egypt. So, we're talking about the Holy Covenant. This is the Holy Covenant. It gets placed under the mercy seat. Luke 1, 72 and 73 is Zacharias. When John the Baptist is born, Zacharias prophesies about the coming Messiah. Okay, that John the Baptist, his son, is going to go pave the way for. And he says, I'm just going to go from memory. Or should I read? I'll just go from memory. No, I'll read it. No, I'll go from memory. Here we go. He says that he's coming to remind us of his holy covenant. Yeshua is coming to remind us of his holy covenant. The promise he made to Abraham. It's Abraham, renewing of the Abrahamic covenant, that we will be brought into the land. Okay, that's a promise of the Abrahamic covenant, that he will go clear the way of that land, clean it, and bring us into the land, folks. That is the Holy Covenant of promise, one of them. Okay, spoken of again in Ephesians, in Paul's letter to the Ephesians in verse 12. People don't get it. It's still in effect today. We're supposed to be obeying the Ten Commandments. In error, churches throw the baby out with the bathwater. After the transgressions, the golden calf, they got heaped on the schoolmaster. People don't get it. We're supposed to be shouting that from the rooftops. Get right, people. This is getting crazy now. We're here to get some knowledge of God, because that's what he wants, more than burnt offerings. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. The knowledge of God more than burnt offerings. They, like men, have transgressed the covenant and dealt treacherously with me. That's what Yeshua is talking about in Matthew 9. When the Pharisees say, why does your master here eat with the publicans and the sinners? He says, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Go find out what that meaneth. If we listen to him, we go find out what that meaneth, right? And we go to Hosea 6, verse 6, where it talks about the knowledge of God. Knowledge of God is also spoken of in Hosea. Hosea 4, verse 6. They like men have transgressed the covenant, dealt treacherously with me. Then it says, for lack of knowledge, they rejected knowledge. They rejected knowledge. I will reject them and I'll reject their children. Probably not a perfect quote, but Hosea 6, 6, Hosea 4, 6. Read them together. It's sobering how far off the freaking path we are. And he said, Jehovah, God of Israel, there is no God like thee in heaven, nor above, nor on earth beneath, who keepeth covenants and mercy, who keepeth covenants and mercy. His mercy is that he tells us how to live. With thy servants, and that walk before thee with all their heart. With thy servants that walk before thee with all their heart. That's who he has mercy with. That's Deuteronomy 6. Loving God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul is Deuteronomy 6, verse 5. Deuteronomy 5 is the covenant at Horeb, folks, which is the Ten Commandments. Thou hast kept thy servant David, my father. Thou hast promised him. Thou hast speakest also with thy mouth. They have fulfilled it with thy hand as it is this day. Therefore now, Jehovah, God of Israel, keep my servant David, my father, that thou promised him, saying that there shall not fail to be a man in my sight to sit on the throne of Israel, so that thy children take heed their way, that they walk before me as thou walk before me. You're supposed to follow that king who's walking before him. David was not a perfect man. He made huge errors, but what did he do? He got on his face and said, don't take your spirit from me. He had a poor and contrite heart that trembleth at his word. And then he prays for Solomon to have that perfect heart. None of us are perfect, but we can have a perfect heart for God. Praise Yah. Thou promised him, saying that there shall not fail thee a man. Okay, now that they walk before me as thou hast walked before me. And now, God of Israel, let thy word, I pray, be verified, which thou speakest unto thy servant David, my father. But will God indeed dwell on earth? Behold, the heavens and heavens cannot contain thee. How much less can this house that I builded? Yet have thou respect unto prayer of thy servant and thy supplication, O Jehovah my God, to hearken unto thy cry and to the prayer which thy servant prayeth before thee to this day, today, that thy eyes may be open toward the house at night and day, and even toward the place which thou hast my name there shall be, that thou mayest hearken unto prayer which thy servant shall make toward this place. And hearken thou to the supplication of thy servant and thy people in Israel, when they shall pray towards this place. And hear in heaven thy dwelling place, when thou hearest forgive. If any man trespass against his neighbor, an oath be laid upon him, to cause him to swear, and an oath be for him to thine altar in this house. Then hear thy in heaven, and do, and judge thy servants, condemning the wicked, to bring his way upon his head, justifying the righteous, to give him according to his righteousness. Righteousness would be defined in Deuteronomy 6, verse 24, 25. When thy people Israel be smitten down before the enemies, because they have sinned against me, and shall turn again to thee, and confess thy name, and pray, and make thy supplication unto thee in this house. And then hear thou in heaven, and forgive the sin of thy people Israel, and bring them again into the land which thou hast givest to their fathers, when heaven is shut up, and there is no rain, because they have sinned against thee. If they pray towards this place, and confess thy name, and turn from their sins, when thou hast afflicted them, Then thou in heaven forgive the sin of thy servants and of thy people, that thou teach them the good way wherein they should walk, that thou should teach them the good way wherein they should walk, and give rain upon thy land, and give rain upon thy land. All right, what's that rain upon thy land, guys? All right, let me go there. Boom, and they give rain upon thy land. What does that mean? Give ear, O ye heavens. This is Deuteronomy 32, the song of Moses, the song of Moses. His servants will know this song. Okay? That's what they're talking about in Revelation 12. Give ye, O heavens, and I will speak. And hear, O earth, my words of my mouth. My doctrine, this is God speaking right here. My doctrine shall drop as rain. My speech shall distill as dew, as the small rain upon you tender herbs, and as the shower upon the grass. So the grass will be green if we have his doctrine, right? Okay, so what happens when we run out of doctrine? Okay, when he pulls that doctrine back from our society, what happens? Drought. The ground cracks. It's desolate. Okay, then hear them in heaven and forgive the sin of thy servants and thy people Israel, that thou teach them the good way herein they should walk, and give rain upon thy land, and give rain upon thy land, which thou hast thy people for an inheritance. For thy people for an inheritance. The land is the inheritance, people. Okay, that's that promise to Abraham. You'll be a seed to the promise. Harper, can I please get a shout out? Oh, the Harper's harping. Hello. Okay, so here we are. I'm on verse 37. This is 1 Kings 8. What's going on here is the dedication of the temple, and he is praying for the people. If there be in the land famine, if there be pestilence, blasting, mildew, or locust, if there be a caterpillar, if their enemy besiege them in the land of their cities, whatsoever the plague, whatsoever the sickness be, what prayer or supplication soever be made by man or by all people, Israel shall know every man plague of his own heart, and spread forth his hands towards this house. Spread forth, that's where that comes from, folks. That's where you raise your hands. That's where we're supposed to be raising for our hands. God had his house tore down because he's mad at these people, mad at us people, us, our wickedness. Okay? But that's where that raising that hands goes. Then hear thou in heaven the dwelling place, and forgive and do, and give every man according to his ways, whose heart thou knowest, for even thou knowest the hearts of all the children of men, that they may fear thee all the days they live in the land which thou gavest unto their fathers. Oh yeah. I just cut. I mean, we just cut it off. We just cut it off. You should have seen it. It was like a big mop. And then it's like super hot out. And then it's like a mop under my hat in the hot. And it's crazy. Yeah, so. Yeah, in the middle of July in the South, you're in survival mode. Hairstylings and combs and all that stuff, that's just vanity. And they may fear all the days that they live in the land which thou givest our fathers. Moreover, concerning a stranger that is not of thy people Israel, but cometh out of a far country for thy name's sake. Strangers, folks. For they shall hear of thy great name and thy strong hand and thy stretched out arm, when he shall come and pray towards this house. Hear thou in heaven thy dwelling place, and do according to all the stranger calleth for thee. For all the people of the earth may know thy name. May know thy name. His name's Jehovah. Fear thee, do the people of Israel, and they may know this house which I have builded is called by thy name. If thy people go out and battle against their enemy, whithersoever they shall send them, and pray unto Jehovah towards the city which thou hast chosen, towards the house that I have built for thy name. Then hear thou in heaven their prayer, their supplication, maintain their cause. So much for, oh, that stuff's for the Jews. There ain't but 12 gates, folks. There isn't one called Gentile. Better get grafted in. That's Romans 11, Romans 9, 9 through 11. Second Ephesians brings down the middle wall of separation. Anybody who is putting up that middle wall of separation with their doctrine is by definition putting out an antichrist message. If Christ brings down the wall of separation and some church doctrine rebuilds it, they're working for the other guy. And there's a lot of them out there, folks. And why is that? Because people don't have the knowledge of God. They're not reading this thing. You can read this. Tinsdale put it in English so we can read it. It's a little bit confusing. You need the Holy Spirit, that second comforter, spoken of in John 14. So you understand it. Yet they shall bethink of themselves in their land, where they carried. I'm on verse 47. This is 1 Kings 8, verse 47. Yet, if they think themselves in the land whither they are carried captives, repent, and make supplication unto thee, in the land of them which were carried captives, saying, we have sinned and we have done perversely. We have committed wickedness. And this happens here in a few chapters. The whole northern kingdom is going to get wiped out. There isn't even a northern kingdom right now. They don't get split up until after Solomon. Okay? So we have sinned and done perversely. But he's given them advice right here that they do not hearken to. And so return unto thee with all their hearts and with all their souls and their lands and their enemies, which led them away captive, and pray unto thee toward their land, which thou gavest their fathers, and the city which thou hast chosen, the house that I built for thy name. And that is Jerusalem. When you hear their prayer and their supplication in heaven, thy dwelling place, and thy maintain their cause, and forgive thy people that have sinned against thee, and all their transgressions where they have transgressed against thee, and give them compassion for them who carried them captive, for they have had compassion on them. The Syrians didn't have compassion. They didn't. So God smokes them. Okay? For they be thy people and thy inheritance, which brought us forth out of Egypt in the midst of the furnace of the iron. Yeah, okay, Edinburgh, man, yeah. Oh, you know his real name? His real name's Yeshua. You know what that means? That means Jehovah is salvation. It translated originally as Joshua. So you could go look up in the Strong's Concordance Joshua, that's what it's going to say. Thine eyes may be open unto supplication thy servant, and into the supplication of thy people Israel, to hearken unto them, that they call unto thee. For thou didst separate them from all the people of the earth, to be thine inheritance, as thou spakest by the hand of Moses thy servant, when thou broughtest the fathers out of Egypt. And so it was so, that when Solomon made an end to the praying, all his prayer and supplication unto Jehovah, he arose before the altar of Jehovah, from kneeling on his knees, with his hands spread up to heaven. And he stood and he blessed all the congregation of Israel with a loud voice, saying, Blessed be Jehovah, that giveth rest unto his people Israel, according to all they promised. There he hath not failed one word of all his good promise, which he promised by the hand of Moses his servant. As Jehovah be our God with us, he is our Father. As with our fathers, let him not leave us nor forsake us, that he may incline our hearts unto him, to walk in all his ways, to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, which he commanded our fathers. Let these, my words wherein I have made supplication before Jehovah, be nigh unto Jehovah our God, day and night, that he maintain the cause of his servant, and the cause of his people Israel at all times, and that matter shall require. and all the people of the earth may know Jehovah is God, and that there is none else. There is none else. Let your hearts therefore be perfect. Let your hearts be perfect. Let your hearts be perfect. Matthew 5, verse 48. Be perfect. Be perfect. So you talk about your heart, be perfect. With Jehovah our God, to walk in his statutes, to keep his commandments. To keep his commandments. That's a Shema, to guard his commandments. As this day. And as the king, all Israel offered sacrifice before Jehovah. Verse 63. This is 1 Kings 8, verse 63. And Solomon offered sacrifice and peace offerings, which he offered unto Jehovah, 220,000 oxen and 120,000 sheep. 120, whoa. So the king and all the children of Israel dedicated the house of Jehovah. The same did the king Hallow in the middle of this court, that was before the house of Jehovah. There he offered burnt offerings and meat offerings, and the fat of the peace offerings, because the brazen altar was before Jehovah was too little to receive the burnt offerings and the meat offerings and the fat of the peace offerings. At that time Solomon held a feast with all Israel, with a great congregation, from entering in of Hamath into the river of Egypt, before Jehovah our God 7 days, even 14 days. On the 8th day he sent the people away. They blessed the king and went unto their tents joyful and glad of heart, for all the goodness of Jehovah had done for David his servant and for Israel his people. That is 1 Kings 8. And it is awesome. Okay? I love that whole chapter. The blessing of the people, the reminding us of the covenant of Horeb, which is the Holy Covenant, the same Holy Covenant that's spoken of in Luke 1, and then again in Daniel 11, verse 30, where in the end times they forsake the Holy Covenant. Peace and blessings, Edinburgh. Please, peace and blessings. Praise Jehovah. So that is that. Okay, now I have to read 2 Chronicles 5. We get to read it. Ooh. Thus, all the work that Solomon made for the house of Jehovah was finished. And Solomon brought in all the things David, Chronicles is about the same as Kings. About the same. One of them is more harsh towards the kings, and one of them kind of sugarcoats it. I can't remember which is which. If you know, put it in the chat. I think Chronicles is the one that kind of sugarcoats the stuff. I could be wrong. I can't remember. Thus, all the work that Solomon made for the house of Jehovah was finished, and Solomon brought in all the things David his father had dedicated, for the silver and the gold and all the instruments he put among the treasures of the house of God. Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribe and the chief fathers and the children of Israel unto Jerusalem to bring up the ark of the covenant of Jehovah out of the city of David, which is in Zion. Therefore all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto the king in the feast, which was in the 7th month. And all the elders of Israel came, and the Levites took up the ark. And they brought up the ark in the tabernacle of the congregation, and in the holy vessels were in the tabernacle. These did the priests and the Levites bring up. Also King Solomon and all the congregation of Israel that were assembled unto him before the ark sacrificed sheep and oxen, which could not be told nor numbered for multitude. And the priests brought in the ark of the covenant of Jehovah into its place for the oracle of the house of the most holy place, even under the wings of the cherubims. They brought it into the holy of holies. For the cherubim spread forth their wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubims covered the ark, and the staves thereof above. And they drew out the staves of the ark, that the ends of the staves were seen from the ark before the oracle, but they were not seen without. And there it is unto this day. There was nothing in the ark save 2 tablets, which Moses therein at Horeb, when Jehovah had made a covenant with the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt. Okay, when I just read this, I went through, I went to Psalms 105, verse 41 to the end, which is kind of a little telling of that, where the water flows out the rock, and he remembers Abraham, and he makes his, and that is Exodus 19, folks. It's Exodus 19. They are in Horeb. It's also retold in Deuteronomy 5. Deuteronomy 5. When the Lord made a covenant with the children of Israel, they came out of Egypt. And do not mistake this. That is the renewing of the covenant made with Abraham, where he's going to take them into the land, and he's going to give them the land. Oh, in the vineyards they did not plant, and the houses they did not build. And it came to pass, when the priests were come out of the holy place, that the priests that were in the presence sanctified, and did not wait by a course. Also the Levites, which were of the singers of all of them, Asaph, of Herman, of Jeduthun, and all the sons of the brethren, being arrayed in the white linen. I guess that's that guy we hear about in all the Psalms. Being arrayed in white linen, having the cymbals and psalteries and the harps, stood at the end of the altar with them 120 priests, sounding with trumpets. And it came to pass, as the trumpeters and the singers were as one, and the trumpeters and the singers were as one, to make one sound to be heard in praising and thanking Jehovah, when they lifted up their voices with the trumpets and the cymbals and the instruments and the music. And he praised Jehovah, saying, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. His mercy endureth forever. What's his mercy? His mercy is that covenant, folks. His mercy endureth forever. That's also Psalm 105, verse 8. Endureth forever. And the cloud filled, even the house of Jehovah. So there he was. He was there. There. The cloud filled the house, so that the priest could not stand to minister by reason of the cloud, for the glory of Jehovah had filled the house of God. Praise Yah. Praise Yah. Praise Yah. All right. Some people stuck it out. We got through 1 Kings 8. Okay, the hearing of this story. Then we went and we read it also in Chronicles, so we could see how it was written in both accounts. The cool thing is we get 2 accounts of many of these things. You also hear about the same thing spoken of sometimes by the prophets in their books. So there you go, folks. 1 Kings, 2 Chronicles, 8 and 5. Praise Yah. That is day 164, the Blue Letter Bible app. One day closer to reading the whole Bible. Praise Yah.